Ever since Dolly the sheep was cloned in 1996, cloning became a prevalent topic in the scientific field. Initially, Dolly was cloned in an effort to cultivate proteins through a farmed animal's milk for medicinal purposes. Since then, not only has the medical but also the veterinary and agricultural fields taken this idea and tested it with other subjects. Cloning has become of interest due to its benefits, drawbacks, and related controversies. The most argued benefit would be the ability to clone embryonic stem cells to produce an identical match of an organ to save the life of a patient in need. This process is called therapeutic cloning, and not only can it be used for transplants, but also research on how to prevent diseases before a transplant is needed. While this sounds ideal, others fear that when this technique is perfected, experts will go a step further and clone a human, which raises ethical, moral, and legal questions among society. Taking a step back from human cloning, it is easy to see the practical importance of cloning regarding agriculture. The most favorable livestock can be cloned and used to reproduce the best of the best, including cows who produce an abundance of milk, faster horses, and stronger mules.
Animals that have been cloned include sheep, goats, pigs, cows, horses, and mice. Cloning is difficult because in normal sexual reproduction, cells carry out their specific individual jobs to bring DNA together and form embryo. However, in cloning, the DNA is forced to reprogram to create these embryos or these people. Sometimes this does not work. Scientists have attempted to clone frogs, dogs, and monkeys, but none of these have worked due to the failure in the reprogramming process. Cloning is also related to stem cells because stem cells are universal cells, which means they can become any kind of cell in the body. This is related to cloning because in cloning, DNA is able to reprogram or change in order to fit the body's needs. Cloning is not yet ethically correct in the eyes of society because it could bring class issues such as the wealthy being able to afford it and lower class not being able to. Human cloning is not banned in the U.S. However, there are prohibitions on government spending on human embryo research.
Researchers have cloned a wide range of biological materials, including genes, cells, tissues, and even entire organisms such as sheep. 20 years ago, scientists announced the first successful cloning of a mammal, Dolly. 8 sheep have been cloned since then. There are 3 different types of cloning: gene cloning, reproductive cloning, and therapeutic cloning. And human cloning still appears to be fiction. There is currently no solid scientific evidence that anyone has cloned human embryos.
There have been many controversies surrounding the idea of cloning. Although researchers have cloned a few different types of animals such as sheep, frogs, mice, and more, the real controversy comes with the possible cloning of humans. Some people believe that this devalues human life, and some religious groups believe that cloning messes with what only God should control, the creation of human life. Another controversy involves the issues of abortion because some cloning creates embryos which do not have the chance to be carried to term to become human children.
In regards to the future of cloning, there are many applications, largely in agricultural fields. For example, there's a biotech company known as Infigen here in the United States, and they are doing some experimental cloning with dairy farming. So, for example, you can predict herd productivity and reduce and eliminate produce fluctuation by using cloning in the future, hopefully. So if you have a cow and you know it produces 25,000 gallons of milk, you can clone that cow and then know that the cloned cow will produce that amount of milk, which will be very useful for farmers. As well as being able to clone prized animals that have the best genes, so you can propagate those. Other applications are cloning for food purposes. So cultured meat, also known as synthetic meat, is already starting to become a thing. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. And this could essentially end animal cruelty and all kinds of messed up practices in the food industry, because we would no longer require actual animals for meat. We could just grow meat in a culture and it'd be synthetic, and that would be awesome.
Possible future use of cloning would be to use it to bring back either endangered species or species that have recently become extinct. Dinosaurs are more than likely not a species that we probably won't be able to bring back because they're just too far, and the DNA we would need a more recent DNA sample for them. Endangered species are very likely to become one because we still have many cells and fresh DNA we can use. Recently extinct animals also, we would probably have relatively fresh DNA from them, and the cloning of these animals are more likely. The furthest back right now, the furthest back animal we can clone right now that could possibly be done is the woolly mammoth. There is already a project underway attempting to clone essentially a woolly mammoth, but only time will tell if it will actually bear any fruit or if it will fail.